Samuel Morse was an American inventor and artist who made a big change in the world with his work. He is best known for creating the telegraph and the Morse code, two things that helped people communicate over long distances for the first time. Before his inventions, people had to travel long distances to send a message or use messengers, which took a lot of time. Samuel Morse's work made it possible to send messages quickly and easily, even over very long distances. His inventions changed the way people communicated and helped connect the world in a new way. Samuel Morse was born on April 27, 1791, in Charlestown, Massachusetts, USA. He was the first child in his family. His father was a pastor, and his mother was a talented woman who loved reading and writing. From a young age, Samuel loved to learn. He went to a local school and then to Yale University, where he studied art. Samuel was very good at drawing and painting, and he became a famous artist. His paintings were shown in important museums, and people admired his work. However, in the 1820s, Samuel's life began to change. One day, he was on a ship, traveling back to America from a trip to Europe. On this ship, Samuel met a man who was working on a new idea. This man was talking about the idea of using electrical signals to send messages over long distances. Samuel listened carefully to the man's idea, and it inspired him. Samuel became very interested in the idea of sending messages using electricity, and he started thinking about how he could make it work. At that time, many scientists and inventors were trying to find ways to send messages over long distances using electricity. Samuel Morse was one of the many people who worked on this idea. He wanted to create a system that could send messages very quickly and easily. After years of hard work, in 1837, Samuel Morse finally finished creating the telegraph. The telegraph was a machine that could send messages using electrical signals. The telegraph worked by sending a special code through wires. The code was made of short and long signals. These signals could be easily understood by anyone who knew the code. Samuel Morse worked hard to make the code simple and easy to remember. He used dots and dashes to represent different letters of the alphabet. This code became known as Morse code. For example, the letter A was represented by a short signal followed by a long signal, and the letter B was represented by a long signal followed by 3 short signals. In 1844, Samuel Morse used his telegraph to send the first long-distance message. The message was sent from Washington, D.C. to Baltimore, Maryland. The message was, "What hath God wrought?" This message is very important because it showed the world that Samuel Morse's invention worked. People were amazed that a message could travel over such a long distance so quickly. This was the beginning of a new era in communication. After the success of the first telegraph message, Samuel Morse's invention became very popular. People all over the world wanted to use the telegraph to send messages. The telegraph lines were built across the United States, and soon, telegraph lines connected many countries around the world. This made it much easier for people to communicate with each other. Businesses, governments, and even families used the telegraph to send important messages quickly. The telegraph was used in many different ways. For example, businesses used it to send orders and news. Governments used it to send important information, such as news about wars or elections. The telegraph also helped to connect people in different parts of the world. It was used by newspapers to send news stories to be printed in other cities. The telegraph made the world feel smaller, and people could learn about events happening far away in just a short amount of time. Samuel Morse's work changed the world in many ways. Before the telegraph, people had to wait a long time to send or receive messages. Now, they could send messages almost instantly. This made life easier and helped people do business more efficiently. The telegraph also helped people in emergencies. For example, when a ship was in trouble at sea, the telegraph could be used to send for help quickly. Although Samuel Morse is most famous for the telegraph and Morse code, he also had other inventions. He continued to work on ways to improve the telegraph and other technologies. One of his ideas was to send pictures using the telegraph. This idea helped lead to the invention of the fax machine, which allows people to send pictures and documents over long distances. Over time, the telegraph was replaced by newer technologies, such as the telephone and the internet. These technologies allowed people to communicate even more quickly and in new ways. However, the telegraph was an important first step in the development of modern communication. Without Samuel Morse's work, it would not have been possible to create these new technologies. Samuel Morse's invention of the telegraph is one of the most important events in the history of communication. His work helped people stay connected and made the world feel smaller. Today, we can send messages in many different ways, but it all started with Samuel Morse and his telegraph. His invention is still remembered and used today, as Morse code is still taught to students and used in some areas of communication. In the end, Samuel Morse's hard work and creativity changed the world forever. His telegraph made it possible for people to send messages quickly and easily, and his Morse code became a language that was used all over the world. Samuel Morse will always be remembered as one of the greatest inventors of all time, and his contributions to communication will never be forgotten. Through his invention, he connected people, brought the world closer together, and helped build the foundation for the modern world of communication we live in today.